It is Christmas Eve, 2025. Let's start with silver. According to stock charts, silver printed a high of 71.94. However, on another website I follow, silver printed 72.70. Regardless, though, it was a new historic high. Um, Officially, again, stock charts has a settlement of 71.94. RSI 82. It's the high side, but again, we've seen silver officially overbought a lot of the time, sometimes for weeks at a time. I accept we're on the high end, cyclically high, but it's been that way for the whole of the month. Again, you see when we do drop, we get literally a day here, a day there, maybe a couple of days turning sideways for a bull flag. I mean, what we could do is, Friday or Monday or Tuesday could just be sideways chop before the next move up. But of course, there's always a threat at any given time that you could wake up in the morning and silver's up 4 or 5%. Anyway, bullish day for silver. Specifically, uh, do I want to go into what I did this morning? Actually, we'll go on SLV on an hourly. So on an hourly, silver did cool back from yesterday's moderate high, and we settled moderately positive in terms of cyclical pressure. You can actually see we bounced from the 10 MA in early morning, and we have all these downside gaps. But you know, for a rip roaring commodity, sometimes they just don't retrace. On a smaller cycle, yeah, we settled marginally positive cyclically. Yeah, when we look at that on a 15-minute, we had an opening black candle, much like yesterday. Cooled off, much like yesterday. But unlike yesterday, I did actually buy this morning. So I bought a little bit when SLV was probably around 64.25. And I bought another block when SLV was around 64, upper 63s, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'm in 2 blocks, and both positions are profitable, of course. Um, I would ignore that last candle. It's spurious because of the way stock charts pins prices on half day. And what I want to see on Friday, I would like to see a gap straight into the 66s. 67s would be a bonus, but that's going to be difficult on a Friday when most other world markets are closed. These downside gaps, red, orange, they're probably not going to be filled for any time soon. They will be an issue though. Um, Eventually, when silver maxes out, probably not until mid January, maybe late January. But yeah, these gaps are issues, especially a completely empty gap like this one. Anyway, before we get bogged down, let's just jump to commodity gold. I agree with stock charts on this. Gold did print a new historic high of 45.24. Another website says 45.25, but regardless, it is a new historic high. Gold is overbought, RSI 79, but again, that can remain the case for weeks at a time. Again, broader price structure is a gigantic bullish pennant, and it's way suggestive that we're going to have a straight run to 5,000, which looks realistic late January. Now, this is the thing, right? If gold does continue up to around 5,000 late January, in theory, silver should just be, shadowing gold or even leading gold. But they generally trade in sync. So if I'm right about gold going to 5K, whether that's late January or February, I'm not really going to care. But in theory, that means silver should be around 90, maybe 100. I accept hundreds a stretch, but possible. And this is a giant bullish wedge on a daily. We can better see on a weekly. Yeah, very on a weekly. There it is. You can see that one there from the summer. And of course, there's another one there late last year. Again, overbought, right? On a weekly. But you got to think we're gonna have another up candle next week, right? That'll get us to what 4,600. I think gold 4,600 before year end, and that isn't bold considering we printed 45.24 or so today. So if you close the year at 4,600, then it's only another $400, which is what's $400 on 4,600? 8% or so, which is it's a stretch, but it's just about viable by late January. And that would be the natural target, right? You can see here in the summer, gold got stuck at 3,500 and then churned sideways for a couple of months. And here the high was 43.81. Off we go. Already printed the 4,500s. But yeah, before I forget, I should look at GDX on a daily. So yeah, actually the miners were a little bit weak today. I mean, yeah, GDX actually settled down by 0.6%, but again, it doesn't have to break a new historic high every day. And look on the week. On the week, we're still up 2.9%, having come up from the 67s to 91. I mean, you got to think GDX has a good chance at $100 in mid-January. It's on the high end cyclically, but there's no sign of a turn yet. All right, what else? Do I want to cover Nike? Not really. I cover that for somebody else, actually for my subs. Um, just what do you want to talk about? A few of my favorite names. Let's go to Deckers. So Deckers was up 0.3%. I'm looking. It's just consolidating really before it, in theory, breaks above the 200 day and then goes to 125. Basic target. Grander target is 150. That looks realistic. Let's jump to UNH, which closed up 0.9. Very similar kind of price action to DACA's structure, especially. So it's 327s for 200 days, 347. So once it breaks above the 200 day, off we go. Basic target then will be 472. So, I guess the cautious will wait to chase, but this does look poised to break up and away. And UPS, which settled up 0.5%. Again, you could argue short-term structure is a bull flag. When it goes above 102, target will be 125 to 130, which would, you see there's even a gap to 125. It goes back to January. So I think it's a very good chance of that, of 125 by earnings, which are due late January, first week of February. I want to be long this. I'm not currently because I'm heavy long silver, but in theory, if I can get out of my silver trade, the next thing I should do is, as well as buying back silver again on any cooling, I should be buying a block of UPS. All right, is anything else? Not really. I mean, let's have a look. You want to keep this short though. The only real mover in the early morning today was Intel, which was down 3%, but closed down 0.5%. Look at this. This is good. Hollow red reversal candle, short-term bullish for Friday. Anything else? Netflix and NVDA. I mean, Netflix was up a little bit. Daily momentum turned positive, but this isn't good, right? It is. I mean, you can argue, hey, purple gap, teal gap, but on a monthly chart, Netflix does not look good at all. And video was actually down a little bit, but it is holding above the 200-day 10 MA and the 50, which it broke through yesterday. So in theory, short-term bullish Nvidia. Tesla, Tesla was down 16 cents, which is better than a low. It did bounce. You can see it bounce off a 10 MA, and you could even argue that structures a bull flag. It's not a great one. I mean, I almost really want to call it a bull flag. Not really, no. It's anything else? I guess Micron, which also reminds me of JP Morgan. But yeah, Micron, new historic high. Impressive, right? Look, it's gone from this is actually quite this is really impressive. 221 jumps to 286s. I mean, it's just relentless. And yeah, JP Morgan, which many of the fins broke new historic highs today. Oh, look at that. It's only a percent, but still 329. And last look at last April or this past April was 200. So it's had JP Morgan is up roughly what 60, yeah, roughly 60% since the April low. King of the financials, at least to me it is. So just to reiterate, Friday should be very quiet on extremely low volume. And again, more than even anything else, it's like keep in mind that the world markets, most of them are going to be closed on Friday. So I don't honestly expect to get a big jump in silver on Friday morning. It doesn't seem likely, but it's possible. And if not, then I'll hold across the weekend and look to sell Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then I need to get into UPS, which to me seems the most obvious thing, but um, most people aren't talking about it, which is um, probably a good thing in some ways. But yeah, I will end with my beloved silver chart. Why wouldn't I? Do I even want to cover the S&P? I mean, what else is there to say, right? 5 days up, near historic high, 7K looks well is probable, seems probable next week. And of course, the VIX. Look at the VIX. Classic VIX into the holiday. We just grind it down. So we're already in the 13s. Um, and I accept the fact that you could have a VIX spike, but not any higher than 17s. But why would we spike? Why? What would be the question? What would be the excuse? What's the excuse going to be? I wouldn't expect it on Friday. Why would you expect the VIX to go up on Friday? And then it's like next week. Well, next week's a 4-day week. Thursday will be closed for New Year's Day, of course. So in theory, the VIX will remain inclined to be repressed into the Wednesday close, which of course would mean equities would generally be inclined to go up like they have for the last couple of days. So, you know, subdued VIX, and whether the VIX is 13s, 12s, 14s, 15s, it's all noise at this level. It's all inconsequential. I mean, for instance, January and February VIX could look like September and early October, where you just kind of churn around for weeks, and then maybe you get a little spike, and then resume, come back down again. But yeah, I want to end with silver. Why not? Which chart though? Maybe on a weekly. Wow. It's, on a weekly chart, it looks kind of, it just looks kind of ridiculous now. I mean, look at that. Silver was 28 in the April low. 28. That's amazing to see that. And you have a classic bullish pattern. They don't come any. This is a textbook bullish pattern. You can see that candle there. That is when I was chasing. I'm like, oh my god, I need to get on the silver train. So when I wrote it up periodically within here. The ultimate and obvious question is, well, where does this end? Where do we max out? So two questions: where do we max out, and how low do we go? And how low we go is arguably dependent upon how high we go. So if we go to 90, I would be looking to at least retrace to the 10 MA. That's currently 56. Now, if you project outwards to say the end of January, that means we'll be around 62 at least, right? So if we're roughly $90 end of January, my retrace target would be around 60, 65 to 60. So that's a big old drop. That would scare the hell out of a lot of people. And then maybe we'll just churn sideways for a couple of weeks, maybe a few, maybe even a couple of months. Depends on equities. If equities keep going up, then that's gonna prop silver up. My guess right now is that silver has a good chance at $90 by the end of January, and that should sync up in theory with gold around 5,000. That would be a very natural level for gold to stall at, and then maybe call back $400-500, and that would probably equate to at least silver coming back 20-25%. So yeah, if silver's 90, take off 20 odd bucks, gets it down to 70, maybe 65. But yeah, first things first, we should be, in theory, we should go up for a few more weeks. In theory. I am trying to be cautious, but at the same time, trying to be bold, at least until we get into January, which, hell, that's only a week away, right? Oh, a week and a day. All right, well, I wish you a good Christmas Eve night and a Merry Christmas if that's your thing, which it should be. We're in the Western world, right? Yeah. Keep the good people close, goes to rest. Life is too short to be around the unkind people. Sincerely, yours truly. Be good.